Lincoln Ashida Corporation Counsel. Go ahead.
And Katherine Garson, Assistant Corporation Counsel.
Thank you for entertaining us this afternoon. Just to get started, we have just a very brief PowerPoint presentation for you that we made especially for this council this year. We always start off with our mission statement. You can read it there. The Office of the Corporation Counsel provides answers to the county's challenges with professionalism and integrity by ordinary people achieving extraordinary results. Our vision statement, we are the answer. However, for this presentation for today, our new vision statement is we are the hyoid bone. Hyoid. Think of the mint Altoid. So what is the hyoid bone? Well, like your lawyers, it's something, what is it, Ms. Ford? Am I pronouncing it wrong?
Hyoid is correct.
Hyoid, thank you. What is the hyoid bone? Well, like your lawyers, it's something in your body that you kind of need, but you don't want to see all the time. Okay? You know it's there, it serves a necessary purpose, and it's sort of like you have to have it, but you kind of don't want to see them as much as possible. What is it? Say it again, Ms. Ford, for me.
You said it right, hyoid.
Hyoid sits in your throat, gives support, base of your tongue. It does two things primarily. It gives you the ability to speak and helps us swallow. So like the ability to speak, we are your voice in court. We provide legal understanding and support so that decisions can be made. And as far as helping you swallow, like many of those settlements that we bring before you and ask you, well, I think we need to settle this case and we need to swallow this matter. That's part of what we do. But of course, we follow up and make sure, to the extent possible, that when mistakes happen and we do pay, that it doesn't happen again. Interestingly, the hyoid, it's a derivative of a Greek word. I'm not going to say it, but it means shaped like a U because it is shaped like a U. And that's interesting because sometimes we're called Department Head U at Corporation Counsel. You know, Department Head University. Some of our notable alumni from our office. We have the judge. We have the head. We have the deputy. Last but not least, we have the stud, all former alumni of Corporation Counsel. So what other things that we do as part of our function as the university, is we teach. We engage in what's called protective lawyering. It's an ideological commitment to basically saying we're going to train our clients to prevent them from getting into trouble. We don't want to see them after they've gotten into trouble. Invest time, money, and effort to train ahead of time so they don't get into trouble. It's a non-traditional approach, but it seems to have worked fairly well. Early intervention. Of course, we always recognize giving legal advice is only half the formula for success. What do you think the other half is? Listening to that advice, following that advice. Last year, 831, it's nearly half of our county employees, trained in 20 different subject areas. And we thank you. And in the short time that this council has been on board, I've gotten to know many of you and your staff, and thank you all for your, especially new members of the council, your commitment in having yourselves and your staff attend our trainings is something that's very, very heartwarming for us, and we appreciate that. The H-bone is unique. It's the only bone in the body not connected to any other bone. Similarly, our independence is we represent the county, okay? Not affiliated with any particular department or agency. Our loyalty, unwavering loyalty, is to the county of Hawaii. So how do we measure what we do? What we do in the future, and how does this tie into money, budgeting, because that's what you want to hear, the money part. Well, look at what we did last year in our C&D division. Over 1,200 requests to approve documents, 162 requests to draft documents, 364 legal opinions, 765 other requests. Now, these are actual formal requests. These aren't the small little emails or phone calls that you make to us. Sometimes we track those, most of the time we don't. These are actual formal requests to our office. The in-court stuff, litigation, how much was demanded of our county last year? About $2.6 million in lawsuits filed against the county. How much did we pay? Settlements, about $390,000. Now, caveat here. The 2.6 million, that's a moving target. I looked at the numbers, for example, last year was closer to, it was in the tens of millions in dollars, so that varies from year to year. In terms of the settlements paid, the money that's going out, that's not for the cases that are filed that year, because it's a fluid thing, right? It takes a couple years for a case to settle. So these are sort of average numbers. So I did this here, looking at the last 5 years. This is how much was paid out in settlements over the last 5 years. Now, you're all probably your eyes are all probably looking at 2008. What's happened there? $4 million. Every so often, as is true for all governments, you get that catastrophic case. Yeah, the big one. That 4.2 million represents a structured settlement, or a structured payment, or in other words, a periodic payment, which I believe that had to do with a motor vehicle multiple fatality case on the Queen Kaahumanu Highway involving one of our trucks years ago. And by the time that case settled out, and it was multi-millions, and it was structured payments over time, and that year may have even been the balloon payment. I'm not sure. Okay, but basically, for the average, we're looking at about $500,000 or under that we pay out each year in settlements or judgments. Now, all of this comes at a cost in terms of how do we, now we're getting into the numbers, how do we pay for the litigation? Litigation costs are going up. It's about 9% annually. That's the national average. This freaks me out. Deloitte & Touche found that it's about 3% of total gross national product of the United States is actually spent on litigation expenses annually. That is just amazing, but it's true. So what does it cost? What does it cost us, the taxpayers, when we are sued? Well, the average case, deposition expenses range between $5,000 to $10,000. Expert witness fees, another $10,000. That's just for one witness, by the way, assuming you only have one witness. Discovery costs, another $5,000 to $10,000. So the average that we spend on every case where we're sued is about $20,000 to $30,000, and this is if it settles. Okay, we're not even talking about if the case goes to trial. Well, what happens in cases where we sue? Because we've been becoming a little more aggressive in our in some recent cases where circumstances have necessitated it. Active case right now involving the Waikoloa housing project, which is going on in one track, but there's residual litigation because the former developer who we feel wronged the county. We're going after him. We've expended about $40,000 to date, but what is that $40,000? What do we hope to get from that? Well, we're looking to recover $1.5 million. So this represents the adage of why you need to pay money, spend money, in order to get the money that we believe is owed to us. A more tangible, real example that I think you're familiar with is a Hokulia case where we sued Oceanside 1250 Partners. Our total expenses to date is just about $150,000. But what do we get for it? Case is done. What do we get for it? Well, we got $12.5 million in cash, $20 million in secured assets. This bullet here, I debated whether to put this in because to me, closure for the community will only come when that bypass is completed and built. But I think that at least closure with respect to the litigation and at least where that money hopefully is coming from. So you look at $150,000 expense to get over $30 million in 12.5 in cash at least. That's money in the bank, and the other 20 million in secured assets. How much do we have to work with? About $253,000 a year. Okay, so if you look at the former slide, whoops, we spent about half of that right here, that 150, just in one case, and that's what's budgeted for us. Okay, so you can tell where I'm getting to next, right? Which is the begging part. I like this saying. You all heard this this poem, Sea Fever. Remember that it's that old poem by Mansfield that said, "All I need is a tall ship and a star to steer her by." Well, in our office, all we need is a good computer and a staff to steer it by. Really, we don't have any other great equipment requests. We got great people, great, we got the best department in the county, best staff on the planet. All they need and all they ask for, each person, give me one great computer, one good computer. What's the cost of a computer? About $1,200 each. Yeah. What do we have budgeted per fiscal year? About $200. Okay. And Mark, I used up all of my time this morning making that argument, so I'll move on. We appreciate you. We appreciate the administration because it is a team effort. We all have to work together. We're paddling the same canoe in the same direction. Bottom line, we need your help. We cannot be cut any more than we are. And we need to make good investments. The brutal reality of the work that we do is, the work that we do when Corp Counsel spends money, it's not putting parks on the ground, it's not putting roads, paving roads on our highways, but it is an investment in either collecting money that's we believe owed to us, or preventing the bleeding of further money, a loss of money. Okay. As grotesque as this may sound to many people, we need to spend money to defend the county, because if we start getting a reputation of not being able to bankroll our defense, then it's going to be, let's sue the county, we can get an easy 100 grand out of them. Then the next time it's going to be, let's sue the county, we can get an easy 200 grand out of them. And pretty soon this council, when you're all much older, and as the years go by, you'll say, well, Lincoln, what the hell happened? And the answer will be, we weren't able to fund or afford a defense. That's the nature of what we do. Kathy, you want to add anything? No? Okay. But Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you very much for your attention. Much appreciated.
I don't see any lights on. All of a sudden, okay. Councilmember Kern?
Thank you, Madam Chair. How much more money would you guys need to get a few more good computers to have your staff steer? Okay.
Well, we had actually originally submitted that as part of our budget. We are hoping that will be restored in the mayor's supplemental budget on May 1st. Joyce, what was the figure that was cut on that?
47.
Just 4,700. So it's under 5,000. Pardon me?
Yeah. 4,700.
Yeah, 4700.00. Because basically what we have is we have a replacement schedule in our office. So we don't replace all computers the same year or the same time. So we replace them as necessary based on the warranties. So that's all we're asking for. I mean, it's a lot of money. So I don't want to say that's all we're asking for, but we're hopeful that the mayor will restore that in the supplemental budget May 1st, and that's what we'd ask for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kanuha?
Hello, Lincoln. Can you just briefly explain the Cost of Government Commission?
Yeah, the Cost of Government Commission was created by the voters in the 2000 election. What the Cost of Government Commission does is they're a 9-member commission pegged to the council districts, and I believe the managing director is an ex-officio member. That's right. And I believe what they do, they're advisory to the mayor and the council, and they are supposed to they start serving within a year, exactly a year after the mayor takes office, and for every new term, even if it's the same mayor. So Mayor Kanoy was elected November 2012. So by November 2013, right, Kathy? Yeah, that commission cannot begin work until then. They have to wait a year, I think. And after that, they have 11 months, right, to complete their work. And they're to make recommendations to the county in terms of cost savings. What we found in the last, because there's only been since 2000, there's been 2000, how many commissions? About I think three only. Looking at the whole county is too much. Mm-hmm. So what we found recent commissions have done, they've just sort of isolated certain target areas that they looked at. But basically that's what they do.
Thank you.
No, do you have a question? Councilmember Elegant?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Corporation Ashida, good morning. Good afternoon, actually. I just wanted to, so you're the Hyoid how do you say it? Hyoid?
Man.
Councilmember Ford, how do you say it? Hyoid? Okay. So, and that's the voice. So does the council, where the larynx, that's the voice box, and that controls the pitch and the volume, so which is the amount of funding to determine how strong the voice would be. And I must admit that I do feel the same way with Councilmember Kern with your computers, and I'm looking at actually helping you out by helping Director Ao, because I feel like if my personal opinion is that if we help him purchase those computers and provide you with the great computer for each attorney, that would work out. But that's just where I'm coming from.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Being that there's no further questions or discussion, then I'd like to thank you for coming before the council.
Thank you.
If the council members have any further questions, that they will contact your office.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.